To the don'ts now.
Part
5 don'ts.
Part 2. We're going into the don'ts. As we shared, we did not tell each other what our list was. So bear with us. A lot of them may be similar because he and I have this, what do we call it? Like kinetic exchange where
we have this telepathic
think the same thing at the same time.
connection. We're like the Avatar where we're just like we feel each other. All right, so
goes deep. It goes deep.
Are you going first?
You go first this time.
I go first. Okay, my first don't is don't leave out God.
Ooh. Somebody's going in.
Don't leave out God, right? We've learned this through a lot of teachings and listening, but the key is if you involve God in everything, your life is way, way better. I had to really learn this myself, and it's true. Try it. Like for yourself, you should be communicating with God as a unit. You should be praying to God and praising him, not just praying to him, God, like I need like, $500 or something. Like just, I love you, God. Thank you. Because I could be dead 500 times over, but you chose to keep me alive for whatever reason, purpose, and I am grateful.
Yes. So, I love that. Love that is the first
leave out God.
First one on the list. I love that. The don't for me is in your relationship or in any relationship, don't ever compare your partner to someone, especially to their parents, if it's something negative. I've seen this too much in relationships where, the wife and husband are bickering or arguing, and one of them jumps out and lashes and says, "You're just like your mama." Don't ever do that. That is something that my husband and we do not do. We've never done that because that just creates more confrontation, more friction. Instead, we acknowledge the things that, our parents may have done, traditions, views, and we try to reassess, readjust, and create, like he said, our own traditions and our own points of view. So it's not healthy to say, "You're just like your daddy, you're just like your mom, you remind me of this person." Try and keep the conversation zoned in on, "Hey, you kind of do this way and it bothers me when you do this because," or something along those lines. Kinder words, softer voice takes you along in your relationship. It keeps it on a more patient, more compassionate page.
Man, that was deep. All right. My number 2 don't is don't be rigid. Don't be rigid. The bamboo does not break in storms.
Ooh.
Right? So
haikus.
Don't be so set in your ways to be inflexible.
That goes with the adaptability part from the do list. Yeah.
So always be flexible. Don't be so set in your ways. Always be open to try new ways, right? One of the gifts, women, not just my wife, but women, they function and see things way differently than a man does, right? Men just see square boxes. Women sees the color, design, specs, how it's going to fit in a specific space. They see on a whole different dimensional level than a man, right? So it's always best to be adaptable so you can pick that up from your wife.
Kind of like in Doctor Strange. He's Doctor Strange and I'm, what's her name? The one that goes now, C.
The ancient one.
The ancient one.
So, So that was my
second
on
the don't. Okay, so that was I love that one. The third one, right, on my don't list is no matter how deep or out of place a convo goes, always pause, reflect, and breathe before attacking one another. Chaos will only enter when one doesn't find the peace within before having a conversation. So basically, I think every relationship goes through this, every friendship, every mother-daughter, son-father dynamic. When you start to argue, everybody wants to be right. Nobody wants to be wrong. Everybody has an opinion. So in those confrontational moments, when you start to see the attitude, the body language, the words get out of context and just start to elevate and kind of fall out of proportion, and misunderstanding now starts to creep in, chaos, disrespect, cursing, all that starts to unfold when everybody wants to get their point across. So the best thing when that begins to happen, and my husband and I will do this quite often, I would say, he more than I usually am like, no, let's get it out so we can just complete the conversation and move along and learn from it. Whereas it doesn't work that way for everyone. So I've learned to respect and hone in on him saying, no, it's not the time right now because it's going to get a little messy. So instead, let's have this conversation later. Let's revisit it later. Because maybe at the time we're talking, one of our kids might run into the room, or, and those things affect your children when you start to bicker and find silly things to kind of just take out of context. So he's really good at saying, not the time. Let's talk about this later. Let's find or create a time where we can sit down and, just get our points across without having to get altered or out of place. So this goes hand in hand with just being adaptable, being able to be understanding, be compassionate, and find the calmness, how to find the calmness in your conversation pieces and not let it become chaos, which can become destructive.
Deep. Mega deep. All right. My number 3. Don't be closed off. Ooh. This goes for men and women, right? But don't close off yourself. Give in to your emotions sometimes, right? Men tend to kind of shut those emotions down because, I ain't no punk. I ain't no sucker, man. I'm a man, but at the end of the day, sometimes you have to give into that, right? Like, not for nothing. Like, I think women look at you in another respect level. It's like, oh, my man ain't, he can give into his emotion.
I love it when my baby cries. It shows the softer side.
That's just my allergies, man. It's onions, dog.
Let me stop. I know.
No, but seriously, like, men, give into your emotions sometimes. Like, you can be upset, and if a woman doesn't appreciate that, then I don't know, like, that woman needs to kind of identify why, right? Maybe she grew up in a rough,
a hostile environment, right?
Harsh environment where she never even seen a man, like, show emotion, right? And she in her own mind think, oh no, that's wrong. Yeah. It's like, no, you have to have balance, right? You have to, like, the perfect balance is a woman can't be too womanly. I'm sorry. That's like, good. You can't be too girly, because you have to have a little bit of a male trait in you to see certain things that a man sees, as well as a man needs to have a little bit of femininity in him to see how a woman operates. And that's how you're both on this cohesive, equal level, right? Not saying, some may say like, oh no, well, a man's supposed to be here and a woman's supposed to be here. If that's you, that's cool. But it's always better as a team, right? Jordan didn't win championships all by himself, right? True. He had a teammate, right? A woman brings a lot to the table. So you always have to admire that. And again, It's like as you get into your marriage, you'll learn. It's like, okay, I'm gonna let her know my true feelings, and a woman will understand, right?
And the same goes for a woman. You know, a lot of us ladies are brought up that you juggle the home, women work, women, you know, provide just as much as men, and vice versa. It goes for both parties. It's important for even women that carry this alpha characteristic to hone it down, just bring it down and be able to express yourself, and not be afraid to say to your you know, your spouse or your partner, hey, you know, I struggle, sorry guys, that was hard. I struggle with having to carry all the weight on my shoulder because I don't know, it might come from an environment that maybe you're a single mother, or your own mother or parents had to go through certain things and certain traumas that they carried. So what they reflected upon you now created for you to have this wall built up in front of you where you don't show your emotions, you don't express yourself the way you would like to. And it goes for both sides, both the male and the female, to express or give into your emotions. Did I say that right?
Yeah. So it's your turn.
So going on to number 4.
4.
Number 4 on mine is, on the don't list, is don't belittle one another. Instead, find ways of being encouraging. Not only do your words have power or carry power, but what you project upon your partner, not only is it kind of how you see yourself in a mirror image, but now you're belittling that person, whether it be, oh, you don't know how to cook, or you don't clean up or listen, or whatever the excuse is or the issue you're having. All that's going to do is just push that person further away from you. You know, even with your children, you don't ever disencourage them. You encourage them in order for them to learn. Hey, baby, you did this like this. Let mommy show you there, you know, you can do it like this, or maybe even like this, and find a medium center where it's healthy, not belittling the person or making them feel like they're too much of a weight, or they're not doing anything right, or they're no good, or all that does is create, as I said, I'm going to go back to this word, destruction in your relationship.
Okay. Wow. My number 4 is don't be the lone hero.
Oh,
right?
I love how you worded that.
Can save the day. So as a man, sometimes you have to, you're almost structured to be the hero. No, I'll do it. I'll do this. I'll do, you know, it can be exhausting,
Yes.
right? Even Superman is burdened with saving the day. Like, he's infinitely strong, but he gets mentally exhausted that he can't save everyone.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So
Good.
when you have a partner, it's always good to say, hey, can you do this one?
So you're saying in the sense of learn to lean on one another.
Lean on one another. Don't always think that you can do everything.
I love how you started it though with don't be the
lone hero.
That's good.
So that's my number 4.
That goes far. We're on the last one for me now. Let's see. Okay. Turn off for me is turn off all the negatives. Don't highlight the negatives when you're having conversations of any kind. Why? Because that just creates an opening for a downward spiral. You cannot start a conversation with, well, you did this and this is what I don't like about you. And as soon as you start that, you see, you get a facial. So, and then it sets up a reaction for that person to attack you now, because you didn't come into the relationship with calmness, with saying, well, can we sit down and have a talk about this? This is something that kind of, you know, I see from this perspective and I want to know your take on it. So there's always a better way to word yourself and to present the situation. We're going to go back to prayer. Always pray on everything before you bring it forward. You know, you want to be able to know and ask your inner man, ask God, you know, I need to share this with my spouse. but I want to pray about it, that you will give me the wisdom, the understanding, the compassion, the right words to reflect this situation without me having to turn something little into something massive. So,
all right. So this is my last one. But before I give it, don't forget, if you like this content, give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. Share, and let us know what you think. All right. So my number 5 is don't allow setbacks to destroy both of you. Right? In life, hopefully we always pray like, man, this is going to be all pixie dust and sprinkles. Most of the time it's never
far from
like
the
that,
truth.
right? So you have to, again, be on one accord, but you have to be able to, if your partner can't do it, you have to like take the weight. It sucks, but you have to do it, right? Sometimes the woman has to take the weight of the man. She may not want to do it. She may not like to do it, but women get it done. And it's the same thing for men. Men, we may not want to do certain things that normally a woman would do it, but roll up your sleeves, get it in, and just do it. And sometimes you may have to do it while your partner's on your back. Just do it. And don't complain about it. And just keep moving forward one step, one day at a time. And think and believe positively.
Yes, I love that.
And that's it.
I love that. We're going to end it there. I mean, you just squared it off. So on that note, we thank you guys for joining us on our first episode. Let us know what you guys think. Give us any topics that you would love for us to have conversational pieces about. Thank you for joining us on our godly platform to inspire, evolve, and share all our transparencies with you guys.
Amen. And again, don't forget, give us a like, thumbs up, share.
And turn on those notifications.
And until next time, peace.
God bless.